What's up, Magic fans? Mackenzie Thirkill here for an all-new episode of Orlando Magic Soundoff presented by Socios.com. It's been a minute since our last episode, but we are back, and I am so excited for the three guests who are joining me. Today I have Karen, Rob, and Paul. Guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me to talk about, of course, our favorite team, the Orlando Magic. We have some very fun topics to get to, but let's talk about what is the most exciting one, I think, which is, of course, happening next weekend, which is All-Star Weekend. And while we have a few people who will be in attendance representing the Magic, one in particular, Cole Anthony, will be taking part in the dunk contest, which we've seen some videos, we've seen like kind of capable of, but we haven't seen everything. So I know for myself, I'm very excited, but I would love to know what you guys are hoping to see from him and what your expectations are. And we're also going to mention some of the people who are going to be joining him in the dunk contest as well. But I just want to start with initial thoughts. Karen, I'll start with you.
Well, I was looking up earlier, like, his vertical leap compared to, like, Aaron Gordon's, and they're really similar. Like, that's my Aaron Gordon poster back there. But I was thinking, like, well, they're different heights, and maybe it'll be different, like, skills. But when I looked up the vertical leap, they're pretty similar in vertical leaps. So I'm excited to see what Cole could do. I know we probably haven't seen everything he can do in a game, but I'm excited to see what he can bring out.
Yeah, he's actually the shortest participant in this year's dunk contest at 6'3". And while I know being the shortest, you would think that might be a bit of a disadvantage, there also seems to be an advantage with being the shortest because you get more air off the ground, like you were just saying with his vertical. Hopefully he brings a dub back, though, for us.
Yes.
In comparison
definitely.
to what unfortunately happened to AG in the two dunk contests he participated in. Rob, what are you hoping to see from Cole?
Well, Cole seems to have those bag of tricks that nobody knows about, and I've seen videos of him in the past, even going back to high school in his slam dunk days. So I'm pretty sure Cole's got more stuff in his bag than we know, and yeah, he's not going to let it out and let it all see. But yeah, with him having a vertical and him being shorter, I mean, a la anniversary of Spud Webb winning it, and you know how he looked when he dunked over Dominique. So I think Cole can do it. I mean, if it's anybody, he's got the heart and determination to bring it home back to Orlando.
Definitely.
Yeah, he definitely has the charisma, the energy for sure, the passion, joy. Those are all things that Jamal Mosley referred to him as. You were talking about high school. I know when I was reading an interview that Cole did, his first dunk was, I think, when he was like 12 or 13. And ever since then, this has kind of been a dream of his to be in the dunk contest. And I know, like you were saying with his bag of tricks, he does have some things up his sleeve. And apparently he's having some people come in to help him out. I don't know who those people are per se, or who it is that he will be getting advice from. Of course, we have Terrence Ross on the team, who is a former slam dunk champion as well, to kind of pick his brain a little bit. But Paul, what are you hoping Cole brings to the dunk contest?
Yeah, I definitely think he slept upon, for sure. He's definitely a high flyer. I don't know if you've seen, but his old high school videos when he was a freshman or sophomore, he has many in-game dunks. And then he transferred to Oak Hill, and he just took off. And actually, my very first time seeing Cole dunk was when he dunked over Shaq. I don't know if you saw it. It was on like a mini hoop, but that's the very first time I saw him dunk, and I knew he was going to be a force to reckon with in the league.
Yeah, definitely. He's going up against some stiff competition too. So we know was in last year's slam dunk contest. He was the runner-up. He'll be back. He's the only person who is a return participant, but then he'll also be joined by rookie Jalen Green out of the Houston Rockets. So we know Jalen has some hops as well, and then Juan Toscano Anderson from the Golden State Warriors. I know when I look at that list, when I think of it, obviously, like, Kobe's a very stiff competitor because we saw what he was capable of, but I'm like, I think Cole's got it. Like, I know I've seen videos of what, like, T-Ross posts, like, after they have practice. I'm like, that boy can fly. And I know Wendell was saying that because of his short arms, he might have a little bit more of a struggle, and that he might have to actually jump over somebody to like prove a point. But I think Cole's got it in the bag, and he said he came here to compete. He wants to get that dub, and he's not here to play nice with his opposition.
Hopefully he gets
it was like
revenge
what Rob said. He's got the heart. Oh, yeah, that too.
I said hopefully he gets revenge for AG.
Yeah, definitely. Try to bring it back to Orlando.
That would be great.
Yeah, it would be so exciting. And I mean, it's really just going to be an all around, I think, exciting weekend as Magic fans. Like, he's going and he's going to be in the dunk contest, but then also Jalen and Franz are going to be there as well in the Rising Stars. So we're going to have 3 players representing. So it's just going to be an overall good weekend, I feel like, for Magic fans. Because usually we only see it where we might have a player in the dunk contest. We obviously had Vooch go to All-Star those 2 years, which was absolutely phenomenal when he got that call. But to have 3 young guys who are really kind of the future of this franchise to represent us, I think will be so great. And like I said, if I had a bet, and I am not a betting woman, Cole's getting the dub though and bringing the dunk contest championship back to the O.
The future looks bright in Orlando. I can definitely see that. There's just it's happening. You can see the transition.
Yeah, definitely. Also, let's side note of just winning the dunk contest. I also just want Cole to win the dunk contest because I really want to know what he would say in his interview after winning.
Yes. That would be the best interview ever.
That's really kind of why I want him to win, is just to see what he's going to say.
Yeah, he's definitely very
shout out to the rim,
charismatic.
Shout out to the net.
Yeah. Shout out to Cleveland, my home away from home. You guys held it down for me. It's gonna be just wild. It will be absolutely wild. And who knows what he's gonna bring to the table too, because he seems to keep it very lock and key in terms of what he's gonna be doing. So we shall see. I expect great things though, nonetheless. But changing topics, and this kind of is coming off the back of what Rob was just saying, with the future looking bright for Orlando, we of course have a much newer roster over the last year and a half. One of those players being Wendell Carter Jr., who we acquired last year during the trade deadline, which trade deadline is looming currently this week. But Wendell Carter Jr. has absolutely been a standout, especially in his play this season. We've seen him really come into his own more in comparison during his time in Chicago. And I think he's actually showing us everything that we thought he was capable of, especially when we look at him back when he was playing in Duke. He is a modern big man, and he is now showing up and showing us what he's capable of. Rob, what have you seen from Dell so far this season?
I can tell you his outside shot, he's always hit the 3, but what really surprised me last night at that game was his fall-away jump shot. I was like, whoa, Wendell with a fall-away jump shot? And it was pure, too. You could see it. I was like, he's been in the gym. I mean, I'll give it to him. He's been in the gym, and his game is just elevating to no end. Plus, his rebounding is just off the charts. I mean, he's double-doubling every night now, so you can definitely see the improvement. And he's a high pick-and-roll player with Franz. That right there, that duo, I'm telling you, it reminds me of Hito and Dwight.
Yeah, I love it.
I'd agree.
Karen, talk to me.
I think Wendell is very unselfish when he plays. He is a good team player, and he plays hard every night. There's some nights when I know, my husband is the bigger Magic fan than me, but he gets mad sometimes at certain guys. He's never mad, and I'm never mad at Wendell. Wendell plays hard. He puts his heart into it, and he's very unselfish with the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
Paul.
I'd say he's definitely a star in his role. He does exactly what he's supposed to. He's kind of a back day mixed together, because he gets rebounds and he puts it up, and he's learned how to shoot the ball. He shoots the 3 very well, actually. So I'd agree with what Rob said. I was surprised seeing he could shoot it from the perimeter. And he averages 14 points and I think 10 rebounds, which is a double-double.
Yeah. Shooting from the perimeter is something that we saw a lot during his time at Duke, and he's actually has been shooting more at the perimeter during his time with Orlando than he was during the entirety of his time in Chicago. So you like to get back to the style of play that he's most comfortable with, but I think something that's been to his advantage is that he's been allowed to experiment a little bit during his time, especially under Jamal Mosley. They've been using him in those inverted pick and rolls. There's times that you see him as the ball handler with guards setting screens for him, and especially with him coming out to the three, that then opens up really the whole floor for him, and it kind of keeps people at a little bit of a disadvantage. And so, especially being able to hit threes on and like get the fast break, and also just facilitate at the top of the arc is really just all things that are working to his benefit. And it's so great to see it, especially this is all coming off the back of our first game against Chicago. And that's really where we've seen him take that turn is back in November. He played Chicago. He talked about that chip on his shoulder. He talked about how he's watching film a lot more to learn what his opponents are, what their disadvantages are, and where he can really just like get under their skin or so, you could say. So it's really just so great to see. And like you said, with him averaging 14 points and 10 rebounds a game, that's what you want to see from your big man.
Well, not only that, too, I noticed he's got a lot of people, when you have that three out there, he's got people biting on the pump fake, so that gives him a wide open shot to the lane or to kick it out. So once he gets people off their feet, that's automatic right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, can't forget about his posters he's had.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that this team has done very well, especially of late, is sharing the ball. That's something that has really contributed to the success, especially during that 5-game homestand that we just recently came off of, where we won 4 out of 6 games. Of course, 2 of those wins being on the road. But Jamal Mosley, when he came in as head coach, he talked about playing with the pass and how important that was for his gameplay with this team. And that's something that we've seen them really come full circle with. In their last 6 games, when they went 4-2, they were averaging almost 30 assists per game, which at that time was second in the league. And they had an assist rate of 69.8%, which was also second in the league. And that obviously, if anything, contributed to the success. Wouldn't you have to say, Paul?
I would definitely say they're moving the ball very well. I don't know if it was versus the Bulls or who, but it was a play that summed up how they moved the ball perfectly. It was like Cole Anthony like dove on the ground in center court and then threw it up to Franz Wagner, and then Wagner handed it off to Suggs, and Suggs finished it at the hoop. And I saw that play and I'm like, wow, the future is bright, like Rob said earlier, because those 3 right there are 3 youngest players moving the ball like they're veterans in this league.
I think that when you have ball movement, it opens up guys, and I mean, the more people that touch the ball, the better, higher percentage you have of making a shot, because there's always going to be a cutter, there's always going to be double coverage. So if you can get double coverage and then find the open man, you're always going to be a high percentage on anything, and that's just anything, any ball movement. If you look, I always look at the stats, and like when you see your guys averaging 5+ assists a game, and guys that aren't even point guards that are giving assists, that means that the ball is being moved around. And I think, what was it, the last 4 or 5 games, I think we were up and over almost 40-some-odd assists a game. So, 40-some-odd assists, that leads to over 50 points a game. And that right there is what you need to win, because that you can compete with anybody with good ball movement.
Well, Karen, Rob, Paul, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your evening to join me here on Orlando Magic Soundoff, presented by Socios.com. I appreciate it so much. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I really appreciated all of your insight and all of your takes. So again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And for everyone tuning in, if you would like to join Orlando Magic Soundoff on one of our upcoming episodes, make sure you tune in to our Instagram stories, where you can apply by just sending in your email. And like everyone here, you could join us, favorite NBA team.